Chapter 37. The King of Thar'Zul. The echo of footsteps rang against the stone walls as Alden, Luthera, Doran, Sarah, and Boran walked down the main corridor toward the audience hall of Thar'Zul. The lit torches cast an amber glow across carvings of mountains and ancient ruins, and the air carried a faint scent of polished minerals and burnt resin, the mark of ceremonial dwarven halls. There was weight there as well, a silent solemnity that made every breath feel measured. The massive doors of the hall opened with a deep rumble. Inside, the chamber was vast, upheld by pillars carved with crossed hammers and the likenesses of ancient dwarven kings. On either side, two large groups of dwarves stood aligned: warriors, advisors, master craftsmen, and clan leaders, their dark, sharp eyes fixed on the newcomers. At the center of the hall, raised upon 3 steps of black basalt, sat the king, Durin Hramson, king of Thar'Zul, lord of the forges, and warden of the northern mountains. His gray beard fell in thick braids adorned with rings of blackened iron. His armor, ornate and heavy, looked as if it were built to carry the weight of an entire kingdom. His expression was calm yet impenetrable, as though every gesture around him were being measured with the precision of hammer against anvil. To the king's right stood a stocky dwarf with a stern face, his closest advisor. He was the one who spoke first. "The king grants you audience," he declared, voice deep and resonant. "Speak. Tell us why you have come to Thar'Zul and what you seek of our lord." Boran stepped forward, nervous but steady, bowing his head slightly. "My lord," he began, "I come as a representative of the Haldrum caravan, but also as witness to something far greater. The young man behind me is the one spoken of in the prophecies, the bearer of the mark, the one who—" A wave of murmurs rushed across both groups of dwarves, mixed with short, incredulous laughs. Boran tried to go on, but a deep voice interrupted him. "If the boy is who you claim," the king rumbled, not raising his tone, "he does not need another to speak for him. The bearer of the mark should have a voice of his own." Boran turned toward Alden with a mixture of apology and urgency. Alden felt a knot tighten in his stomach. The entire hall seemed to lean toward him, though no one moved. Still, he stepped forward. The air thickened around him, but his voice emerged clear. "My name is Alden of Hearthglen." Silence fell immediately. It was the first time he had spoken that name so publicly, and the first time he spoke the next words: "I am the bearer of the mark." He reached to his side and slowly drew Arundel, the blade of dawn. The steel glimmered with a pale, otherworldly light. No ordinary flame. A ripple of astonishment passed through the advisors. Some even stepped back. Doran allowed a faint smile of pride to appear, remembering Kalor as if the man were standing there beside one of the pillars, watching over them. Alden raised the sword and spoke firmly. "We travel on a quest to gather the relics of Dawn and stop Galathor before he consumes the world. My request, my lord, is that the Dwarven Kingdom grant us access to Durvak, the axe forged by the first descendants of the ancient Dravern. I ask only for your support and your trust." Durin Hramson studied him for a long moment. There was no cruelty in his eyes, only a deep assessment, as though every one of Alden's words weighed more than the stone beneath them. At last he spoke. "Supposing you speak truth," he began calmly, "supposing you are truly the one named in prophecy, that makes you something else as well." Alden felt a chill crawl up his spine. "Son of the blood of Arden Galathor," the king continued, "the same man who, under a banner of freedom for his own kind, began a campaign to exterminate all those who were not of his race. The same man who surrendered himself to the shadows until he forgot his own humanity. The same man who forced us to hide behind walls and stone giants." Each sentence dropped like a hammer onto the anvil of Alden's soul. "If you are the one foretold," the king went on, never raising his voice, "you might destroy the darkness consuming Galathor, or you may be the very one to spread it across all Myranthel." Alden felt the air ripped from his lungs. It was not the first time he had heard this fear, but never had it been spoken with such clarity, such certainty. They were the same doubts Sarah had expressed when they first met, the same doubts he had carried inside himself, the ones Kalor had tried to shield him from. Before he could answer, Sarah stepped forward. The elf straightened with a dignity that filled the entire hall, graceful as a whisper of the forest. Her voice, however, was steady as a deep-rooted tree. "Your Majesty," she said, "I understand your fears. I suffered Galathor's cruelty myself. I watched my people die and fled from Lumrial, my home, when the shadow swept across Alandor. I too doubted Alden at first." Her gaze softened as it fell on him, serious but warm. "But he is not his lineage. He does not see himself above others. He learns, he strives to be better, and his heart does not bend toward darkness. I have seen a kindness in him that I never witnessed in Galathor, and a connection to the primordial fire that no human has possessed since ancient times." A quiet murmur stirred among the advisors. "And if you still do not trust him," Sarah added, laying a hand over her chest, "know this. I, Sarah of the Forests of Lumrial, direct descendant of the ancient Elvar, will be the one to end him should he ever fall to darkness." Her words echoed like an oath carved into marble. Alden trembled inside, both gratitude and fear mingling in equal measure. Sarah defended him, but also reminded him of his burden. Durin Hramson listened without a flicker of emotion. "Your words are compelling, Elf," he answered evenly. "And I know your people do not pledge their word lightly, but nothing guarantees you can fulfill it. And what becomes of Durvok is not the concern of elves." He turned toward Doran. "Nor of a half-breed." Doran clenched his fists. He felt the familiar burn under his skin, rejection from dwarves, rejection from men. But he said nothing. He swallowed the ache and kept his eyes on the floor. Then a deep voice rose from the right side of the hall. "We are dwarves to the last drop of our blood, my lord, and we, too, trust the boy." The group parted, revealing two familiar figures, Corim, the blacksmith, and Grumar, his ever-present companion. Alden blinked, stunned. He had never imagined that the dwarves he had worked beside for 10 days in the forge were anything more than craftsmen. Born whispered, "Corim is the king's smith, and Grumar is one of the finest warriors of the royal guard." Alden had no words. It felt as if he had awakened inside an entirely different world. The king did not reply immediately. A dwarf maid approached the advisor beside him and whispered something at his ear. The advisor nodded, then spoke aloud. "My lord, someone requests to join the audience. Someone important." "Who?" Durin asked. "The Oracle of Arendor." A sudden silence fell. Alden, Sarah, and Doran exchanged tense glances. After a brief moment of thought, the king nodded. "Let them enter." The great doors opened slowly. The air seemed to shift as Selenia walked in, wrapped in her blue cloak with its silver embroidery. Her presence was elegant, serene, almost unreal beneath the torchlight. Behind her came Liana, wearing the cloak of the order, the hawk perched steadfastly on her arm. And closing the group, Kale and Dren stepped forward with confident strides, their silhouettes framed by the hall's reddish glow. Alden felt something ignite within him. Destiny had reached the doors of Thar'Zul, and now every eye was fixed on him.